The whistle blows, the ball is inbound, and the players sprint down the court. But something seems off. The offense looks confused and disorganized. Defenders are left uncovered as shooters hoist up ill-advised shots. Substitutions are made too early or too late. Timeouts are called at the wrong moments. What's going on here? Could it be the coaching? In the NBA, coaching matters. Good coaches can take average talent and make them overachieve. Bad coaches can undermine superstar players. So when a coach consistently fails to get results, fingers will point their way. Today we'll look at the coach who is widely considered the worst in NBA history. What did he do to earn this dubious honor? How bad were his teams? And what eventually led to his downfall? By the end, you'll see why this coach is at the top of the list of the worst in the league's history. First, let's start with his background and early years on the bench. Who is widely regarded as the worst head coach in NBA history? The unfortunate title goes to Bill Fitch. During his 25 seasons in the league from 1970 to 1998, Fitch amassed a record of 944 wins and 1,106 losses. His teams qualified for the playoffs 18 times, but never reached the NBA Finals. Fitch is best known for his tumultuous stints, coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers and New Jersey Nets in the 1980s. He presided over some of the worst seasons and teams in franchise history. So how did Fitch earn his reputation as the worst coach in NBA history? Let's break it down. Fitch began his NBA coaching career with the expansion Cleveland Cavaliers in 1970. In his first few seasons, the roster was severely lacking in talent. The Cavaliers set the NBA record for the longest losing streak at 24 games from 1972 to 1973. Fitch relied heavily on a slow, methodical style, even as the NBA was shifting towards a faster pace. His team ranked near the bottom of the league in scoring and field goal percentage. Fitch clashed frequently with players who did not conform to his rigid system. In 1976, the Cavaliers drafted Austin Carr, who went on to win Rookie of the Year. The following season, they drafted Brad Daugherty. With legit talent finally on the roster, many expected Cleveland to take a leap. But Fitch's restrictive style limited the team's ceiling. Despite having one of the NBA's top backcourts, the Cavaliers hovered around 500. Fitch's rocky relationships with players caused locker room turmoil. The Cavaliers fired him after a disappointing 1981 campaign. In 1984, Fitch became head coach of the New Jersey Nets. Once again, he inherited a rebuilding roster devoid of star talent. The Nets suffered through 4 miserable seasons under Fitch, including a 17-65 record in 1986, which was the worst in the league. New Jersey ranked dead last in offensive efficiency during Fitch's tenure. Players resented his authoritarian approach and complained about his grueling practices. Fitch even clashed publicly with young stars like Derek Coleman, who bristled against his hard-nosed coaching. The 1992-93 season was a new low for Bill Fitch and the Nets. The team got off to an atrocious 3-40 start, including 2 different losing streaks of 17 games. Fitch's job was clearly in jeopardy. In March 1993, the Nets were 2-26 on the road and pulled into Auburn Hills, Michigan, for a game against the Pistons. In the first half, New Jersey trailed just 50-40, but the Nets completely fell apart in the third quarter, getting outscored 38-12. As the Pistons' lead ballooned to 40 points in the fourth, Fitch refused to remove his exhausted starters from the game. The final score was a humiliating 127-76 defeat. It was the largest road loss margin in NBA history, a record that still stands. 2 days later, Fitch was fired. Bill Fitch's coaching pedigree in college, and the NBA makes his utter failure with the Cavaliers and Nets even more perplexing. Prior to the NBA, he led the University of Minnesota and the University of North Dakota to conference championships. Fitch was named NBA Coach of the Year twice, with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 1976 and the Boston Celtics in 1980. He even led the Celtics to a championship in 1981 with stars Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish. Yet Fitch utterly failed to adapt his rigid, methodical style to the talent and personnel of the Cavaliers and Nets. Players resented his authoritarian, grinding approach. Ultimately, his inability or unwillingness to modify his philosophy to fit modern, fast-paced basketball led to his downfall. While Fitch achieved some success, his largely futile stints in Cleveland and New Jersey earned him the title of the worst coach in NBA history. So what lessons can be learned from the coaching implosion of Bill Fitch? First, adaptability is key. The NBA evolved rapidly in the 80s and 90s towards a faster tempo and more scoring. But Fitch's system remained stuck in the 1970s. He couldn't modify his approach to maximize the talent he had. The best coaches evolve with the times and adjust their style to the personnel on their roster. Player relationships matter. Fitch's hard-nosed, domineering style bred resentment in the locker room. Players felt micromanaged rather than empowered. Driving a wedge between yourself and your best talent is coaching malpractice. Great coaches connect with players, foster trust, and build an environment of mutual respect. Finally, restraint and composure are crucial. Look at legends like Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, and Pat Riley. They exude calm on the sidelines. But Fitch was known for temper tantrums, angrily berating players, and even throwing chairs in the locker room on occasion. Losing your cool destroys credibility and leadership. As an NBA head coach, you set the tone for the entire organization. Bill Fitch's tumultuous coaching tenures with the Cavaliers and Nets reveal the pitfalls that lead to the worst kind of NBA coaching failures. Rigidity instead of adaptability, divisiveness instead of relationships, anger instead of composure. In the end, Bill Fitch's name tops the list as the worst coach in NBA history because his philosophy and approach were utterly unfit for the modern game.